We're thundering towards the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. It's our third round of 7 for 2025 for Mission King of the Baggers during a MotoAmerica Superbikes at Road America weekend here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. And the stage is set for race 2, as yesterday's race was incredible. Harley-Davidson locked out the podium. So here we are back in Wisconsin. Welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time national champ Jason Pridmore. Now, Jason, we had a good race yesterday. Some crazy things happened at the beginning of the race. However, it's still Kyle Wyman who's dominating.
Yeah, what a season he is having so far this year for the Factory Harley team. We saw him start off, obviously, at Daytona very well, but Road America's kind of been another stomping ground for Kyle Wyman, and he has been the class of the field. As you can see him starting to drift away. The battle for second was frantic and fast between a number of the riders, including the Indians of Troy Herfoss and Tyler O'Hara. As you can see here, Rispoli worked himself into third to get by Herfoss with about 2 laps to go, trying to chase his 2 teammates down. Kyle Wyman was chased closely home by Bradley Smith. Rispoli gets the podium, and as you say, Greg, the lockout for Harley-Davidson.
And they certainly had a great celebration, but let's take a look at Kyle Wyman. So in Mission King of the Baggers, 22 career wins. Herfoss is second with 7. But here at Road America, 7 races, 7 podiums, and 4 wins. And this season, Kyle has only given up 5 points. But Jay, everybody's going to want to use this long racetrack to try to stay in the draft of Kyle Wyman. So tell us a little bit more about Road America.
Incredible track, Greg. You come up a steep hill towards start-finish line down into turn 1. By the time you get to turn 5, you've been in the draft twice, and you got a lot of braking to use there. Through the carousel, we saw a number of different lines yesterday, down to Canada Corner, turn 12, up a hill through 13, 14, you got to get out of there to the finish line.
Awesome racetrack. How'd you like a more intimate look with our Insta 360 track back? This is Bradley Smith, and yesterday he nearly reeled in Kyle Wyman. But on this race, look for James Rispoli to get after it as they head down into turn number 5. We're going to send you off to commercial break. Race action on the other side.
Not going anywhere with you here live on MotoAmerica Live Plus as we get ready for Mission King of the Baggers. Talk about that Harley-Davidson lockout of the podium yesterday. Roger Hayden, one of the really cool things was looking at all the pictures later on after that race and seeing Willie G. Davidson getting to celebrate that with his team.
Yeah, that was awesome to see him here, and you know, the team showed up for him. And see if they can do it again today. We know this is Harley's home race, and they're going to be trying hard to do the double of the lockout this weekend.
Harley-Davidson by Dynojet Factory Racing Team, the 3 riders of Kyle Wyman, Bradley Smith, James Rispoli. Not the only Harleys in the field. You go back to Revzilla, Vance and Hines, the Harley-Davidson team, as well as the Saddlemen Race Development Team with Jake Lewis and Corey West on board. What can some of these other riders do to get themselves closer to the top of the field?
Well, I think it just all starts with the start. Kyle is so good at right out of the gate. Even in yesterday's win, he pulled out a couple seconds gap early on Bradley, and it was hard to pick up. So I think it's just right there in the beginning, not losing toe that first couple laps.
Nobody wants to ruin the day for Harley more than Indy, and that's why we come out to the racetrack. With more, let's go ahead and get down to Michael Hill.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie. Bikes then getting ready for the start of this one. As you said, they are looking to hopefully replicate a Harley lockout. Indian, of course, a big factor in this championship. Keep your eyes out from my perspective also on Loris Baz, who was a little bit disappointed yesterday, as was Troy Herfoss. But this is racing. It's Mission King of the Baggers. It is the largest and longest circuit that we come to, so anything can happen. Slipstream will play a part. And with that, I'm going to step away, hand over to Greg White and Jason Pridmore for this one.
Mission King of the Baggers coverage is brought to you by Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. Drag Specialties, an industry-leading distributor of aftermarket parts and accessories for Harley-Davidson, Indian, and custom V-twin motorcycles. And by NXT Bets. Play MotoAmerica for cash. Multiple race classes live on Top Sportsbook and DFS platforms all season long.
Quick look at the starting grid for race 2. Kyle Wyman, Bradley Smith, and James Rispoli.
Then we have Herfoss, Gillum, and O'Hara rounding out row number 2. A little further back, Landers, Baz, Lewis, West, Ohnsorg, and Flinders. And we are on our way. Greg Camp Peterson rounded out that last row as the riders are off down and going into turn 1. We got Kyle Wyman and Bradley Smith, 1 and 2 at the moment. Let's see what Herfoss does on the number 1 Indian. He's trying to position himself at the front. Let's see if he can get that bike slowed down. We saw him run a little bit wide yesterday. These Indian guys, I guarantee you, were hard at work last night. I saw some impressive times in the warm-up from the number 1 bike this morning. So Troy Herfoss, our defending champion, leads the way from Bradley Smith, Wyman, and Rispoli. Round out your top 4.
So on our way down to turn number 5 for the first time. Bradley Smith trying to use the draft and pass, but boy, that Indian motorcycle looking stout right now as they head off into turn number 5. Herfoss deep on the brakes, going to keep it nice and tidy, and up towards the bridge they go. And that's the way they're going to fall in line. So the Corvette bridge underneath is going to be the 33 Wyman Rispoli there in 4th place, and a gap already starting to form.
So the thing that's going to be the tell for me, watching Troy right now at the front, keep in mind how much experience this guy has, winning Superbike championships as we've documented over the last couple of years in Australia, and obviously coming in here last year and making some big waves, winning the championship. Indians got a lot of smart people over there that went to work hard overnight. I just want to be able to see him ride the way he knows how to ride without the franticness of feeling like he can't let people get away. We're going to learn a lot here in the first couple of laps from what the number 1 really has underneath him as far as a motorcycle goes. But already, Greg, it looks so much tidier and better for Troy than it did yesterday. Bradley Smith has really come on strong as well. First time here at Road America. And you can see Kyle Wyman right now is just going to kind of sit back and watch what happens with these front 2 as well as Rispoli, because the factory Harleys have been the class of the field so far this weekend.
In the Canada corner, Bradley Smith closes up a bike length. Now it's a drive out of the corner, just a little wide, but no real dramas, even though up on the curb for the number 1. The real test is going to be what happens on this straightaway as they come to turn number 14 here at Road America. What kind of drive does Troy Herfoss and his S&S Indian Motorcycle Challenger have versus Bradley Smith and that Harley-Davidson by Dynojet factory machine? So here we go onto the straightaway. As they go down into turn number 1, Herfoss still maintains the lead. Let's get to the 3rd member of the broadcast team, Hannah Lopa, for more.
Talking to the team, the struggle this weekend has really been finding that sweet spot. That's always the name of the game, the balance and setup. And they just quite haven't found what they're looking for. And they're trying to amplify certain strengths of this Indian motorcycle. But when they do, sometimes they're making compromises in other areas. And so this morning, Troy Herfoss and his team made a big step up. He said he was doing his personal best times, and it looks like they've really found something, obviously, because he's out front and off to a great start.
Yeah, and Hannah, to your point, it just looks easier for him. So they could have gone back, looked through their notes, maybe gone back to some new setup or some old setup from last year, Greg. And sometimes you have to do that. You have to just kind of go back and look at what was successful in the past. And really, the first flying lap is going to be the one I'm looking at. We had a 222 flat from a standing start. If I see him all of a sudden do a 17 or even a low 18 off the bat here, then I'm going to know he's a lot more comfortable. And then he's got to try to figure out tire wear as well. We got a 6-rider battle kind of up at the front. Let's not forget Tyler O'Hara doing a great job. And it's good to see Loris Baz on the other Indian. So we've got the 3 factory Harleys and the 3 factory Indians tied together here in this front 6. Bradley Smith looks like he's just dying to lead this race. He's going to be patient, though. These guys all have a lot of experience. And this first lap, like I said, once we see that number come across the line as far as the lap time goes, we're going to know what the pace is.
Boy, Herfoss out of the chicane, able to get it done. Hey, play MotoAmerica for cash. Superbike Baggers and Super Sport Series are now live on top sportbooks and DFS platforms. Scan the flow code or visit nxtbets.com/playma to see what's available in your location. Sign up and claim exclusive bonuses and make your picks now. So, so it's Herfoss, Smith, Wyman, Rispoli.
And Gillum's trying hard to bridge that gap as well. So we'll see if Hayden can get on the back. Don't forget, he's won a championship in this class before. And as I mentioned yesterday, the Vance & Hines Harley-Davidsons seem to have found a little bit of power. They've been running much stronger this weekend. So Gillum just needs those guys to mess around a little bit. Bradley Smith was in a good draft here over Troy Herfoss. And let's see if Bradley Smith can lead this race. He
Trying to go
does,
around,
he
yeah.
does, but Herfoss goes back past him, and he's able to hold that line, uses some exit, but he was still able to make the corner no problem. 2:18.9 though, Greg. Honestly, the pace is a little bit slow at the front.
Yeah, so 18.944 was his qualifying time. The number 1 plate, Herfoss. He goes 18.904, so a little quicker for Herfoss than his qualifying time. Kyle Wyman, a 2:18.5, fastest lap of the race so far. Here comes Bradley Smith. He's trying to use the draft and pass. They go down the hill into turn number 5. Herfoss throws strong into 5. He's got the line choice,
Nope,
so
Kyle's
he'll
running a little
control
wide.
it. Yeah, Kyle Wyman out wide. Couldn't get his motorcycle slowed down. That's going to move the 43 of Rispoli into 3rd place.
Look, for Kyle right now, he's got a huge points lead, and he just wants to see who's going to be there for the battle. He's willing to let this race play out, but it's only a 5-lap race, let's not forget. It's not like these guys have a lot of time to really pace themselves in a 10 or 11-lap race. So for Kyle Wyman, I know he's been in the low 17s, Greg, this weekend. What did he qualify at? He qualified, I believe,
17.4.
17.4. And again, this morning they were in the 17s, as you see both these riders getting their bikes backed in ever so slightly. Troy Herfoss has gone fastest split in the 2nd split right now, as he had to look over his shoulder. He's got a big line of riders behind him. So Bradley right now really is kind of working it on both sides. You see Herfoss up out of the seat.
That might be the first indicator of what's going on with his rear Dunlop tire, or just a little bit too much throttle, as Bradley Smith trying to take advantage of the wheel spin from Herfoss. And here comes Smith. Oh, there's nowhere to go there, especially with the extra width of those bags. But Troy Herfoss once again starting to spin up the rear.
Yeah, and we're going to just have to see how that's going to play as far as the rear tire moving around on Troy a little bit right now.
So we're getting ready to come onto the front straightaway again. There's going to be 2 laps to go as Herfoss has a look over his shoulder, and that's going to be enough for Bradley Smith as Herfoss pinches him off the edge of the line. But it looks like it's going to be the 38 of Bradley Smith who gets credited with that lap lead. And here comes Rispoli. Is he trying to go for the lead? No, he's going to stay in 3rd place. But the number 1 of Herfoss goes 19.2, and he'll take the spot as they head down to turn number 3.
Yeah, the pace is slow though, Greg. 2:19.2. So Herfoss is just doing everything he can and just doing a brilliant job of slowing the pace down and bringing all of his other teammates involved as well. As you see, O'Hara and Baz still stuck on the back of this train of 6 riders. And Bradley Smith again on the left side of Herfoss goes down the straight into turn 5. Herfoss closes the door again. So he's just doing a really nice job of keeping the pace slower, but keeping guys behind him.
Boy, this is getting frustrating for Bradley Smith at the moment. He's just trying to find a way around and needs some clear track in the infield in order to see what kind of pace he can uncork. But yeah, the pace up front is not as fast as it was yesterday. And for Troy Herfoss, he is in a position where all these riders are bunching up behind him. There goes Bradley Smith. So the former MotoGP rider to the front, he's going to head off to the carousel, and he's been extremely foul, and they nearly touch as Herfoss gets bumped out wide. He didn't want to give an inch to Bradley Smith, but Bradley Smith had position on the track.
Yeah, he did, and he's allowed Rispoli through as well. So let's see what happens as they get down in here into the chicane. Rispoli kind of closes that door off, and O'Hara now tried to go through on Kyle Wyman. So now 2 factory Harleys have gone through. You got to think that Kyle now in his mind is, I've got to get by Troy myself. As we see Bradley Smith and Rispoli, Herfoss in the draft of Rispoli as they head down towards Canada corner, not quite close enough to do anything with James there. So Herfoss in 3rd.
Well, you have to give it to Troy Herfoss. There's so much real estate here at Road America to pass, and Troy did such a great job holding everybody off. But now we're going to see what Smith has. So 19.2 was kind of what they were up to when Troy Herfoss was the leader. Now Bradley Smith up to the front straightaway. Take the white flag. When he hits
white
the line,
flag already.
1 to go.
Insane. I can't believe it's a white flag lap already. So Bradley Smith leading the lap here, and the time is 2:19.1. But Greg, that's still awful slow lap time. We'll see if anybody uncorks a good lap here at the end of the race that could get him now into the 18s or 17s. Rispoli right now needs to get onto the back of Bradley Smith as they come out of turn 3. The former MotoGP rider, tester. He's been with BMW for testing their World Superbikes. Bradley Smith just starting to pull away ever so slightly.
So Bradley Smith and then Harley Davidson Dyno Jet Factory Racing Harley Road Glide in Harley's backyard here in Wisconsin. He's doing a great job, but it looks like Troy Herfoss might try to make a move on Rispoli and wants to send Rispoli back to third, and he gets it done. And look at Herfoss. He's in there so deep, but he's able to get that Indian slowed down, that S&S Indian factory motorcycle. So Herfoss now in a great position. If he can stay on the tailpipe of Bradley Smith, there might be a last draft and pass move up the front straightaway.
I mean, this is just a lesson in racecraft from Herfoss at the moment. I mean, he did everything he could to stay at the front, and when it looked like he might start to go backwards, he has found a way to get that Indian Challenger in a position to not only get on the podium, he's got 32.4, as Greg points out to me right now, in the second split, which is the fastest second split of the race. Look how good Bradley was down through that carousel, though. He was able to get back away from Herfoss, but he runs it in there a little wide, Greg. That's going to allow Herfoss to get the drive out of the chicane, and if he just needs a sniff. All Troy Herfoss needs is a sniff of an idea to get down the inside of Bradley Smith going into Canada corner or even the last corner. Troy Herfoss will try to do something going into the last corner if he doesn't feel that he can draft Bradley Smith at the line.
So Bradley Smith looking for his first win in Mission King of the Baggers. He's in a good spot right now, although with this long straightaway, if anyone can get in his draft, anyone's vulnerable to the front straightaway. Last corner we go, turn 14. Bradley Smith leads.
Oh.
He's wide. The door is open. Oh, and down goes Smith as Herfoss makes contact. And now up the front straightaway we go. And it's going to be Rispoli in the draft. Can he pull out? No, it's going to be Troy Herfoss with the huge win and the fastest lap of the race on the last lap. And so victory goes to Indian Motorcycles, the S&S Indian Motorcycles team.
Man.
And that Challenger.
Bradley got in there deep and just started to run a little bit wide, and Herfoss had a drive on him out of the last corner, and that is just a shame for the 38.
What a race by Troy Herfoss. Controlling the pace. Everybody threw the kitchen sink at him, but here's another look at the move.
Oh, man, and it's, again, thank goodness the bike and the rider stayed off to the left. That could have been very ugly had those, either the rider or the bike, come back into the path of others. But you can see Bradley, he goes in tight, gets that last downshift done, but just doesn't have that Harley slowed. So he's a little bit, and you can see Herfoss is on the gas. Both bikes are going sideways, and the rear left saddlebag actually hit Bradley's right leg, and it was enough to knock him over. And you can see Rispoli trying to get in the draft as Wyman even looked back behind him. It's going to be Herfoss with the win. Rispoli second. Kyle Wyman third.
Back on top, the #1 plate. Happy as can be. Wow, and a look at the race pace. 22, 18, 19, and goes 18-3. How about that, Jay? Troy Herfoss goes about half a second quicker than he was able to go in qualifying Saturday morning.
Obviously, we see on our screen that the incident is under review, so we'll see what race control has, but this guy just put on a show today of how to win a race even when you don't feel like you have the best package.
All right, so we'll see what happens when we get to victory lane after this.
Well, Roger Hayden, Mission King of the Baggers, never fails to disappoint, but what a dramatic ending there. We can see Bradley Smith trying to get that bike restarted. Oh, he's gone down again. It's all gone a bit wrong now, but your take on that, Roger, as a former rider? It was a bit of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell from that angle, but, you know, two riders, both of them kind of wanting the same spot, and both of them being aggressive with each other, so, you know, sometimes that's part of racing. You have to look at it again at a little slower angle.
Well, Troy Herfoss, the defending champ, then, as you said, fastest lap on the last lap at 2:18.382. Takes the win from James Rispoli. Been a good weekend for James.
Great weekend for James, but I think for Troy, he showed today why he has the #1 plate.
Absolutely.
Able to step up when it mattered. Might not have been the quickest all weekend, but was able to get the win.
Yeah, of course. It's not always about winning at the fastest speed. It's about winning just getting the job done. Here's a replay, Roger. Talk us through this.
Yeah, you just see they both trying to get a run out of there, and both their bikes is moving around, and, you know, the two lines kind of, we've seen Troy last year, never had an incident with anyone. So it just looks like a racing deal. But if I'm Bradley Smith, I'm going to be upset. I'm going to think it's not a racing deal.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and there you can see Bradley has now got the bike back up, trying to get it across the line. And again, I believe by the rules, is providing he does get across the line within 5 minutes, he would be still credited as the rest of the field then comes through. So Herfoss, Rispoli and Wyman with the win ahead of Tyler O'Hara, Hayden Gillam, and Loris Baz getting into the top 6. Lewis Onsborg, Cam Peterson does get a finish ahead of Rocco Landers, who is, I'm sure, going to be very, very disappointed with that. There's a lot more coming on MotoAmerica Live Plus, including our final race. Stay with myself and Roger. We'll be back after this.
Mission King of the Baggers coverage is brought to you by Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. Drag Specialties, an industry-leading distributor of aftermarket parts and accessories for Harley-Davidson, Indian, and custom V-twin motorcycles. And by NXT Bets. Play MotoAmerica for cash. Multiple race classes live on Top Sportsbook and DFS platforms all season long.
There's the number 1 plate making his way to victory lane after a tremendous win. Outstanding racecraft. And this guy trying to get across the finish line is Bradley Smith, trying to participate and get those 5 points. He would be credited with 11th place. Unfortunately for Corey West and Max Flinders, they weren't able to get it done. So here he comes up the front straightaway. He's trying to get that Harley-Davidson over the line. What would you do at this point? Just kind of get over the line and park it?
Park it, yeah. I mean, full credit to Bradley. I mean, he could just easily walk away from that, and but he's going to get this thing across the line, and obviously he's a battler. So they got the checkered flag out for him. And
lesson for you young racers, by the way, never give up.
Yeah, pick your bike up and keep it going. So he'll get that back to the Harley team, and they'll get him there. As you see, it's going to be Troy Herfoss winning by 0.2 of a second over Rispoli. Good weekend for James. Kyle Wyman gets third. O'Hara, Gillam, Baz, Lewis, Onsborg, Cam Peterson, and Rocco Landers rounded out your top 10.
I've been doing this a handful of years, this TV thing. It's the first time I've seen the checkered flag actually wave and then boom, right to the results panel.
after the cool-off lap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, well, Bradley Smith put up a good fight.
Bummer for him. I mean, it's a shame because he did a lot to try to win that race.
But it's all about Troy Herfoss let's get to Hannah.
Incredible start to the race for Troy Herfoss and finishing on the top of the box. I know it's been kind of an up and down season for you, but it seems like you've made some big progress in seemingly overnight. Tell us about it.
I just want to say I'm sorry to the Indian motorcycle fans that I'm so late to the party, but I want to say sorry to Harley for spoiling it. Thank you.
All right, a man of few words after that one, guys.
Well, I mean, yesterday there was a big party for Harley, and I guarantee you the Indian boys all knew that. And for Troy, this is going to be a huge win for him, especially like we always talk about. You know, Harley's backyard. I was texting with Tyler last night, and I know that the motors are built here in Wisconsin also for Indian. And so this is almost like a home race for them as well. So congrats to Troy and back down to Hannah.
Awesome weekend for James Rispoli, all-around second place finish for you, and quite a battle out there. Take us through your race.
Yeah, you know, that race took a minute for me to kind of get up, and, you know, Bradley and Herfoss were going at it the whole race and allowed us to come back there. You know, hats off to my team, the Silver Bullet. These guys have been working so hard, but, yeah, that last lap going into the last corner, I guess if you got to win, you got to put somebody on the ground, so roll on to the next race.
Thanks, James. Third place today, rounding out your Mission King of the Baggers podium, Kyle Wyman. Kyle, it seemed like maybe something different was going on for that race. Tell us about what you were feeling on that bike underneath you.
Yeah, definitely felt like I really never got the tire I needed. It just wasn't there in the beginning, and I was thinking it would try to come in towards the end of the race, but I don't know, the temperature just never came. So decided to just hang back and stay patient, you know, understanding the situation with the points. And yeah, I'm pretty happy on the weekend. I think we still leave here with a bigger points lead even than yesterday, and of course before that. So yeah, I just got to say a huge thank you to Harley-Davidson. All the Harley-Davidson fans out here have been so amazing, and the DynoJet factory team, Akropovich, Mission Foods, Rockford Fosgate, Brembo, all the people that support us, and of course the Davidson family, and happy belated birthday to my mom from yesterday, and happy birthday to Jason Cale today. And let's get it going here. Let's go to Laguna.
A lot to celebrate this weekend, guys.
Yeah, there certainly is. And really, at the end of the day, it's about that points and the championship lead. Let's take a look at these point standings. So Kyle now with 136 and Troy Herfoss with 57. Bradley Smith coming across the line in 11th with those 5 points. He gets in 3rd place with Loris Baz in 4th. All right, Jason, let's take a look at our race 2 highlights.
Yeah, and really, it's a matter of racecraft here as Troy Herfoss. His bike looked a lot better for me today, and I think that if I would have loved to have seen him elaborate on that a little bit, but I know there's some saltiness between these two teams. We know that this is a huge rivalry between Indian and Harley Davidson, but Herfoss did everything he could to keep that Indian Challenger wide and at the front, and it was going to be Bradley Smith that was going to take the challenge to the number 1, and every time Bradley got close, Troy Herfoss did whatever he could to get back in front. Bradley Smith finally made the pass down into turn 8 and would lead a little bit as you see Herfoss running wide in the middle of the carousel. Now, most of us would have thought, well, maybe now's the time Troy's going to go back. Wasn't to be. He goes ahead and goes underneath Rispoli, and in the last corner on the last lap, there's contact made between the number 1 and the 38. Herfoss would go on and win this race over Rispoli and Wyman, and Bradley picked his bike up and finished 11th, as you said, Greg, and got those important championship points.
Yeah, and of course, the Battle of the American Iron goes add in for Harley Davidson and then add in for Indian Motorcycles as Troy Herfoss is going to enjoy the top step of the podium after a masterful race victory. Boy, Jason, when you look at this, things are really starting to heat up with this rivalry.
Oh yeah, it's good. I mean, we need it. I love a little bit of I love a little bit of a rivalry. I like seeing people a little bit salty. And you know, Harley celebrated pretty hard yesterday, and I guarantee you the Indian crew were over in their canopy listening to all of it. And these kind of guys here, they're fighters and they win championships and they're not scared of anything. And you know, for Troy Herfoss, this is a big win for him.
Sometimes it's not about the dog in the fight, is it?
So he's done. It's exactly right. And look, this is a defending champ. He wants to go on and try to take this momentum with him, head off to Laguna and go from there. As you look at our 2025 schedule of our Bagger Championship, Greg, we're going to be at Laguna next, Mid-Ohio, then we go back to Circuit of the Americas, and then, of course, we're going to finish at Jersey, which on these bikes, small little track, but it's kind of like a bull ring.
Yeah, it's got a long straightaway, too, so it's awfully entertaining. So we got a great quartet of racetracks remaining for Mission King of the Baggers. But that's going to do it for us from MotoAmerica. For Hannah and Jason, I'm Greg. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you, Mission King of the Baggers, from Laguna Seca.